Due to the current global business climate, many organizations are undertaking large, complex, and mission-critical projects that position them for growth in the future. Because of this, just about every modern organization has a requirement for qualified and effective project managers. In this lesson, we'll discuss and define what a project manager is and the role of a project manager. Whether they are in finance, healthcare, information technology, pharmaceuticals, or construction, a project manager is needed to develop project plans, define the objectives, identify resources, control the budget, and determine the timeline and tasks needed for completion of a successful project. The role of a project manager in these organizations is distinctly different from that of a functional manager or an operations manager. The main difference is that a project manager's role is to lead a team that is responsible for achieving a project's objectives. A functional manager's role is to provide management oversight of a distinct business unit, like the Human Resources Department or the Art Department. An operations manager is responsible for making sure the business of their business, whatever that business may be, is operating smoothly on a daily basis. The title project manager has been and is still used to generically describe anyone given the responsibility to complete a project. In my personal experience, I've spoken with senior managers and project sponsors who were looking for a project manager to manage their project, but they didn't want to relinquish control of certain aspects of the project. They didn't want to give the project manager control of the budget, or they wanted to set their own timelines. They even wanted the ability to change the scope of the project as the project progressed. If a sponsor of a project wants to keep a spoon in the soup in order to stir the pot, this leads to a recipe for failure. In order to successfully complete a project manager must have the authority to control all the components of the project. The project manager is the main decision maker during a project, and the success of the project should depend on the project manager. The project manager is responsible for the timely and efficient completion of each task and phase. Now, this doesn't mean that the project manager has to perform all these tasks. It means that he or she needs to know and control what needs to get done, who is going to do it, when it needs to be completed, and the required amount of resources needed to accomplish the task at hand. So, the title of project manager is properly used to describe a person with full responsibility and a high level of authority required to complete a project. If a person doesn't have high levels of both responsibility and authority to make decisions on and about a project, then they may be better described as a project coordinator or a project expediter. Since all projects vary in time, costs, and complexity, the project manager may appoint one or more project coordinators and expediters. The project manager may delegate multiple responsibilities to a coordinator, including monitoring and controlling all the work performed. In addition, the project manager may direct an expediter to perform administrative duties, such as analyzing reports and dispersing funds. A successful project manager will be actively involved in all the delegated components of a project, but they will also develop and use their leadership abilities and personal skills to manage the project team. Now, any person who manages a team should know that issues within the team will arise. Using their leadership abilities and personal skills, a successful project manager will be able to mitigate any issues regarding team member participation when they arise. Initially, those issues should be discussed directly with the team member and, if appropriate, escalated. The importance of a project manager developing their personal and leadership skills cannot be understated in project management. Skills like the ability to negotiate, how to effectively diffuse volatile situations using interpersonal skills, and how to motivate a team are essential for a successful project manager. I encourage you to enhance these skills in every way you can. There are numerous books and courses that can sharpen your skills in these areas, and I highly recommend that you wrap your head around them. Remember, a successful project manager gets everyone to play nice in the sandbox. Most companies operate under a functional organizational structure, and the functional managers usually have the resources and skill sets to complete the project within their own departments. When dealing with multiple departments, the project manager has to work with the functional managers to provide direction to the various functional units about their individual contributions towards the successful completion of the project. This written direction, called the work authorization, provides the functional manager with the scope of their contribution, the project schedule, and any budget information they need to know. When dealing with functional managers, a project manager will put their interpersonal and negotiation skills into good use. Remember, the functional manager has their own department to run, and they may not necessarily be concerned with the project. In other words, the project may not be their priority, so it's always a good idea for the project manager to get the functional manager on their side. It may be critical to the project that the functional manager understands how the successful completion of the project will benefit their department in some way and the organization as a whole. Now, who's the boss? Normally, either the project sponsor or stakeholders in senior management appoints the project manager, and that project manager may be accountable to that person. If the project is part of a contract, the project manager is also accountable to the client for the timely completion of the deliverables and many other stakeholders who are counting on the project's success. The project manager makes the final decision on submitting all change requests and is responsible for daily communications with both the client and senior management. A project manager often acts as a client representative and has to determine and implement the exact needs of the client. They are also the bridge between the production team and the client, so they must have a fair amount of knowledge of the industry they are working in so that they are capable of understanding and discussing any needs or problems with either party. The ability to adapt an organization's enterprise environmental factors and to form close links with its representatives is essential in ensuring the key issues of cost, time, quality, and above all, client satisfaction can be realized. Project management, as a profession, is a science that follows a systematic process, and it's an art that utilizes a person's skills and abilities to create something new. A project manager has a lot of people they have to answer to, even though it's their responsibility to accomplish the stated project objectives. A project manager must have delegated authority to commit the organization to matters that are within the project's scope in order to ensure the project is successful.